Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's all well. Welcome to the Arsenal Huddle, and delighted, absolutely delighted to have the three amigos back. Me, Kenny, Ken, and Jezza, all in the house. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's been keeping hydrated and everything during this hot weather. Kenny, hello, my friend. Nice to have you back on screen. How you doing, my friend? How's things? Okay.
Everything's good, yeah. I had a nice sort of weekend. I was at, I told you, so I was at the Kaleidoscope at Alexandra Palace because they had Brandon Block. I miss DJ Spoonie, but I got a good set from. I saw a band called Sleeper. I know that was Brit. I wasn't too keen on them. Neither was the rest of us. But we really bopping to Goldie and Faithless. But no word of a lie. About 9:30. During Faithless' set, the electrics went.
No.
Another 15 minutes for them. And they still played because they still started playing and we couldn't hear them. But in the end, after 15 minutes, they came back on and finished their set. But yeah, it was a good time. It was nice. It's not too far from where we are, where we're based, like not too far from Ali Palace, just around the corner. It's just like, it's probably just doing 100 metres. Get from Harry Pally to N8 Crouch End, not too far. So yeah, good weekend. And obviously, there was a lot of kerfuffle as well. But one thing we'll say before we get to Jez. There's been a lot of noise in Arsenal. A lot of noise, a lot of one-upmanship from people. People trying to boss us around and telling us we're not proper fans and tell us to go and someone else. I'll deal with that those two later. But whilst that was going on, Chelsea quietly beat the European champions and are now, on paper, the best team in the world. So whilst we usualise about our transfer window, they've just gone and won another major trophy.
Indeed.
Just saying.
Indeed, mate. Indeed. Yeah, I mean, we can touch on Chelsea as well. And there's lots to talk about. There's been loads of activity going on in it. But I said earlier on backstage, the good thing about us older fans, we do keep our feet on the ground. We don't get carried away because we've seen incomings before, and we're just open-minded. How you doing, Jez? Nice to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. And what you've been up to, my friend? How's things? Okay?
Yeah. Thank you, mate. Nice to see you and Kenny again. Just chilling out, mate. Chilling out.
Good.
Enjoying. I'm not a sun worshipper. I can't stand these high temperatures. I stay in the shade, mate, and just keep myself hydrated with water, etc. But yeah, looking forward to the show. Unfortunately, being out here, you're out the loop, so everything I hear is secondhand news. So looking forward to the show, my friend.
Oh, nice one, Jez. Nice one. Always nice to have you on screen. And I mean, the season's slowly, the season is creeping up at an alarming rate. Even though I was watching the test match today, bits of it. So let's get on with it. I mean, first of all, let's wrap it up. Kenny, what have you made of the signings so far, the ones that have gone across the line? Kepa, the backup goalkeeper, Norgard, Zubamendi. What have you made of it so far, Kenny? I mean, is it the sort of signings that we're making a statement with? What's your thoughts on it, my friend?
When they're not statement signings, people think there are statement signings. Let's not forget, Zubamendi is a player that we were after last year, so we knew it was coming. We spent a lot of money, we spent a lot of time trying to get Sesko. That's not going to happen. If you got those two last season, they would have been statement signings. But the fact that these signings have been on the pipeline for a while, it's hard to call them statement signings. If you look at the signing of Norgard, that's an open goal signing. The fact is that we had injuries last season. We're just beefing up our squad and giving ourselves some squad numbers. People call it depth, as if it's like, as if we've got like a safe full of 24 karat watches in. We haven't. It's just building out the numbers because we had low numbers last year. And the same with Kepa as well. We haven't got a number two. He is the archetype number two. Everything is an open goal. Kepa knows that we can afford his salary as a number 2. We'll pay it. He can still stay in London, and we know that we've got a goalkeeper that's played big games for club and country. So they're open goal signings. In terms of like what we got ahead, Eze, that big kind of a statement signing. Madueke, well, Jesus Christ, that's caused all sorts of conjecture. I did speak to, I think you guys individually and collectively in our groups. This is happening, and it's just inevitable that this is going to happen. In terms of Gyokeres, because it's a blue ribbon signing, it should be a statement signing because you look at his goals that he scored. You know, he can't stop scoring in the Portuguese league. He's not the first choice, Arteta's first choice. So I want you guys to monitor Arteta's, press conferences when he talks about Gyokeres, and basically just let's see if there's any bells on your feet, because there's no way he was in the pipeline. And there's a Mikel sign. It's an open goal signing by our good friend Andrea Berta. But again, that there's fans who feel probably that there's better out there in Gyokeres and better out there in Sesko, and I'd rather have those players, i.e. it's Isak. But he is the man at the moment for a lot of fans, and I hope that I'm proven wrong, that he is successful and that he can transfer those goals into big games. But you know what? I'm going to be boring and talk about logic. It's easy to, at the end of September, and give your window 10 out of 10, but really and truly, you can't really give it any marks until May, really. Exactly. That's when these signs are successful, because you look at all things. Is he going to have a full program? Is he going to score goals? Is he going to translate the potential into performances? And most importantly, are they going to help us win things? That's what you judge whether you've got a good window. I know people, because all you're doing is you're assuming it's going to work out. You're assuming because you spend a lot of money, because he was excellent in Portugal, he's going to transfer that performance into the league. And then you're assuming that the manager is going to play a style of play that is conducive towards his player. So there's all ifs and buts. But if we play like we did last season, it's a waste of time having Gyokeres here. It really is.
Yeah, no, facts, mate. Facts. I mean, it's one of these things, isn't it, where he's the best available. I mean, he's no Dennis Bergkamp or Thierry Henry and players that we've seen over the years at Arsenal. But Jez, what's your thoughts on the signing so far, my friend? I mean, Kepa, I still think it was a bit of a no-brainer for me for how much we paid for him. I mean, people say we could have done better, but Norgard was a shock for me. I didn't see that coming, and I would say 99.100% of Arsenal fans didn't see Norgard coming. I think it's a strange one. The Madueke, another strange one for me.
Oh.
I mean, how are you seeing it all?
Yeah, the Kepa one, 5 million, small change for Arsenal.
Yeah,
and he's a good backup. I wouldn't say he's great. I mean, he's not a great shot stopper. Let's get that out the way. But his ball distribution's not particularly brilliant either, if you look at the stats. But hey, he could be a different player when he comes to Arsenal. I don't know if he'll get much game time. Probably League Cup will be his levels. But is he an improvement on Neto? Who knows? But I'll take it. As Kenny quite rightly just said, that he's going to stay in London. He's going to be happy with that. So that's good. That's good news for him. Hopefully he'll be happy. With the Madueke one, absolutely no chance. Absolutely do not want that guy. For 52 million pounds?
Yeah, I think it's about 52 million, 53 million. I mean, I just don't get it, Jess. I don't get it. We've seen some players over the years. Do you actually understand it? I've been trying to get my head around it. Do you understand it?
Well, I'm told from what I've been reading that he's a backup for Saka, but I thought he actually played more on the left, personally, from what I've been seeing. So that's a strange one. Is he here to bolster the squad? Maybe, because we all know how short our squad in depth, that term, Kenny, is. But I don't like this. I do not like this. Keep buying these ex-Chelsea players. I just don't understand it. It does frustrate and annoy me. I think we could have done better with 52 million on somebody else. But it's done. That's what we got to live with now. The one I think so far, it's over the line, Zupermendy. Yeah, we've been after him for a long time.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm happy about that one. Norgard, never saw that coming.
No.
Didn't understand that one at all. But I think, as Kenny's just said, it's probably to bolster the squad. And we do need to do that. The Gyokeres thing, if that gets finally done, I'm happy about that. I think he's a quality player from what I've been told. I'm not going to sit here and make out that I watch him week in, week out. I don't. So people have told me, Lee said he's decent. Lee's watched him, Northside's watched him and said he's a decent player. Yes, you're quite right. He's no Thierry Henry, he's no Dennis Bergkamp. But if he can deliver, get us 20 plus goals a season, I'll be more than happy with that. Yeah. Will he get that 20 plus goals a season under the Arteta style of play? Well, we're going to have to wait and see on that one for me. But I think so far, you know, Zupermendy, I'm more than happy. Yeah, Kepa, good backup. The other two, not sure. I just need to get Gyokeres over the line and 2 others, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Kenny, Madueke. I mean, we've got it here. People are saying he's Premier League proven, England international, versatile, can play on the right, can play on the left. I think 50. See, me personally, and big up the chat. Make sure that you sub into these guys on screen. Make sure you're smashing the likes as well. Big up. Welcome everyone as usual. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed for your support.
I'll just say to Nelson, we're cool, man. Nelson, we are cool.
Cool. Yeah, big up, real one, as always. Was going to say, Kenny, for me, £52 million, this is a man that's going to come into the team somewhere. And I can't see us paying £52 million for Madueke and putting him on the bench. I think seriously he's going to play left wing, personally.
I think that I think you're spot on. I think that this is very much a signing which has got both the fingerprints of our good friend Berta, as well as our good friend Arteta. In terms of Berta, again, it's an open goal signing. What you've seen with Berta, you're not seeing the full Berta, but little snippets you've seen from him, he's what I call Mr. Open Goal. Without a shadow of doubt, he's saying, well, I'm using my footballing common sense. The guy's still young. He's not even 25 yet. He can reach his potential. He's England international. You know, it's easy getting Chelsea players. As much as irritating as it is from a lot of Arsenal fans, they're easy to get. There's no silliness because they don't have to leave home. They can stay in London. All they've got to do is go from one end of the M25 to the other end of the M25, or one part of the River Thames to another part of the River Thames. So it's not a biggie for them. In terms of the Madueke signing, from Mikel Arteta's point of view, one of the things that we were crying out for last season in Mikel's head, remember, this is not a signing that I'm sure about, is that there wasn't enough big names or big quality come off the bench, and he probably feels that he is that kind of quality. But one of the things with the Madueke situation as well is that he's come to play. We know that he can play on the right hand side, and that that he could do that. Not as well as Saka, because Saka's is levels above him, in my opinion. But on the left hand side, we saw him play and switch on a regular basis in game, not out of game, in game with Neto. And you know what Russell Hoggs always said, and what some of the guys on the panel have said, why don't we switch it sometimes? Why doesn't Saka go on the left and Martinelli go on the right?
Been saying it.
Well, if we use our footballing logic, and we've always said, why does Mikel use his logic? What if Mikel's using his logic, and if he's saying, right, I know that if I could switch them, and they're both comfortable. One's definitely comfortable playing left, but they're both comfortable playing right. We don't have to change their attacking shape. We can still get that kind of balance where he can cut in, he can go in and goal, he can have shots, and he can scare defenders because he's going straight at goal from that respect. And then on the left-hand side, well, he's done it for Chelsea. We've seen him do it many times in game. And we even seen him doing it live when we went to the Chelsea Arsenal game. So it can be done. One guy, I forgot who it was I don't know. It was a pundit said another thing that Arsenal don't have, and I'll find out who it was. He said something and it made me fall off my chair. He says what Arsenal don't have is a player that can get past players and can dribble. He says Madueke can dribble. In a way,
was that Cundy? Was that Jason Cundy? He said because he likes.
It was something like that. Yeah, Jason Cundy said and mentioned it on Talk Sport, and he says that when he watches Madueke, obviously he's a Chelsea man, left, right, and centre. He says Madueke can take his man on. We don't have that. No. Martinelli can't take his man on. Exactly. He can do a few drag backs here and there, but he can't actually take his man on the pace.
He can't get his head up either, does he, Kenny?
He can't get his head up. Saka doesn't take his man on as such. He can do it, but not in the pace that Madueke can do it. And it made me think, is Mikel Arteta thinking that? Is he saying that Madueke can do all these things? But the thing that's always going to push back on a lot of Arsenal fans, well, me especially, because I don't speak for Arsenal fans. I just want everyone on the panel that I'm not one of those guys who thinks that, one, I own your support and I speak for you. You're well able to do it for yourself, especially when you're old enough to go on YouTube. You can speak for yourself. But one thing, when I look at Madueke, and I was speaking to on a panel with DG, and I spoke on a panel with you. Whenever I watch Madueke for Chelsea, I look at him and I think, right, and then I swear and go, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you make that? Why didn't you release the ball that quickly enough? Why didn't you make that release? Put that cross.
That comes down to the coach, doesn't it?
And that's what I think. His decision making, for a lot of times watching him in Chelsea, left me so angry. Not because I'm a Chelsea fan, because I'm a football fan. I think, right, this guy has got into great positions and he leaves me frustrated. And I'm not an Arsenal fan. And that's one of the reasons why I push back against him, is because I see him and I see that, and I think I've seen that way too often with him. His final decision making, his final ball just isn't of the required standard. However, when I listen to Jason Cundy and when I see him being selected for England, first with I don't think Southgate selected him, but I know Tuchel selected him, and I know Kazi selected him as well. Maybe they're selecting him because he can play on either wing and because he can beat his main. And maybe that's what Arteta's looking at. But one thing Mikel Arteta needs to do, if you are going to start him in games, sort him out and work with him after training on his final ball and nag him until he gets it right. Because that is where he's going to fall out of a lot of Arsenal fans. A lot of Arsenal fans are already against his signing. But I tell you one thing, the pencils and the knives are sharpened if that final ball doesn't improve, because they will go for him, because we've seen what they did to Sterling. And that includes you old boys who say, oh, yeah, if he wears a shirt, we back him. Please. I saw what you lot said about Sterling. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Don't try and make out that you're perfect Arsenal fans when you're just as human as me and everyone on this panel.
No, exactly, mate. No, facts, Kenny, as always, my friend. I mean, there's a question here. Big up, Joseph. Kenny, even though Madueke takes people on, do you think he's a bit similar to Doku, where his final ball isn't now? And this is what we've been saying. It's down to the manager to coach it.
Definitely. But if you look at Doku in the last few 6 months of the season, last second half of the season, he's actually been Man City's better players. It's a no-brainer, really sharp play, because his final ball has improved. If you look at the FA Cup final, he was the one who was trying to make things happen, but Haaland didn't have his shooting boots on. You know what I mean? And so he is getting behind his man. He is putting those crosses in. Who's there?
Exactly.
He's doing his job. So
No
he
end
hasn't. Pep has worked with him, but you are right. There is a bit of comparison with Doku, where first season you could look at him and think, for God's sake, come on, mate. But when I've seen him in the last few months, I can't lie, I haven't said that. I just think he's been a bit unlucky that, Haaland hasn't been at his best. And remember, Haaland scored 21 league goals. And here's me saying he wasn't his best.
Exactly. I mean, if we get 21 out of Gyokeres, I mean, I'll be well happy. I mean, Jez, I can see him coming in at left wing. Do you think then, because me and Kenny have been saying this, and the Arsenal fans have given us some stick over it, do you think now we need to kind of offload Martinelli? Is it time? Do you think this manager's lost faith in Martinelli? I feel sorry for Martinelli because under any other manager, he'd be a brilliant player. And this is what worries me, because whilst we've still got Arteta there, people like Madueke that needs coaching and Wanyeri that needs a lot of coaching, and now we've seen it with Martinelli and Trossard. Do you think Martinelli's had his time at Arsenal? Do you honestly think that he could go this summer or January?
Well, this is a concern. This is a great concern because I don't see any real player at Arsenal that Arteta has actually improved.
No.
Some people say Ben White. Well, all he did was shift him from right back, centre right in defence to right back.
Yeah.
Well, that's not coaching. I don't think as a player he's got any better. But Martinelli, he was a great player under Emery. Let's put it right. He was scoring goals for fun.
He was balling. He was absolutely balling in the centre, wasn't
he? He's regressed. And the one thing as a coach that hasn't improved with Martinelli, he still runs with his head down.
Yeah.
He needs to be running as a professional footballer, attacking footballer, with his head up, looking for his players, his teammates. And how many times last season, DJ, did we see him run the bloody ball out of play?
Oh, all the time. Frustrating.
That is where a coach would turn around and say, "You've got to stop doing this, and you've got to do this." Or the coaches in general, should we say, "You can't be doing this."
I can't believe he's gone on this long and he keeps doing it, because every time you watch him, he's direct like Madueke, and this is what worries me. Is it good? I think it's a bit like for like out on the left, unless he's coached otherwise. But yeah, you're right, Jez. I mean, how many times do we see him with his head down and runs the ball out of play?
He'll take on that last player, right? Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, he'll try and cut round that play and lose the bloody ball.
Yeah.
How many times last year did we see him running down that left wing? And he's a quick kid, right? And he gets snuffled up by the last defender because he doesn't release the ball
all the time.
Now, this is my concern of these players coming in, Madueke, or what his name is, right? Kenny's just said it, you've just said it. He probably needs a bit of coaching about his last ball. I don't see that coming from Arteta because he hasn't done it with Martinelli.
No.
So that is a concern to me. And I don't think Arteta is that sort of manager. I'm sorry to say it, which as a top flight club, Arsenal are, he should be.
Yeah, 100%.
He should be. And will players regress under Arteta is the biggest question of all. Will Zupimendi, will Gyokeres go backwards? That's my worry, because we've seen so many players go backwards and look like they've fed up with the game. That is my concern. And unless Arteta changes his whole approach to how the team sets up and how he instructs the team to play, because let's be honest, last season we played some bloody boring shit football. Terrible football.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
I mean, I remember talking to you guys after the games and that when you said that was the most boring game I've seen in years.
No, it was.
It was awful, slow, ponderous, boring football. So we need to change that up for starters if we're going to compete and go for the title. But that's another big question. Will we change? I don't know. Yeah, Dow 14 draws. There you go, mate.
There you go. It's got to change. That has got to change. Let me just get this super chat. I've got a super chat to read out, which is very good. Unique 79. Thank you, member for 6 hour. Massive shout out to the legends on the panel and to the legends in the chat room. Question: would you prefer Eze or Rodrigo? That takes me in nicely. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe to Jez. Jez is Arsenal, and also Kenny Ken on Instagram. He hasn't got a channel, but obviously he's always around. Kenny's part of the furniture in this world. Make sure you're following and everything else, and big up the chat for joining us today. Thank you very much. It is a welcome community. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, Eze, Kenny. I've said it. People have disagreed with me, but if you was to give me out the two, I would much rather take Eze over Rodrigo. If Martinelli does stay, and you can talk about Martinelli as well, would you think it's time to sell him? But I honestly believe that Eze is key to this setup with Gyokeres coming into the team. I think he's the sort of player that we're going to need if we're going to get the best out of our striker. If he does come in, where does it leave Havertz? And who would you rather have? I mean, would you rather have your Rodrigo or your Eze? I've been open about it and said Eze all day long for me.
Well, the thing about it is that it depends how you want to play. If you want to sort of abandon flank play, then you have to go for Eze. You really have to, because Eze is not, I'll speak to Jack Ramsey all the time, and he tells me to his blue in the face that Eze isn't as a winger. That Eze plays his best football in a sort of freer role, whilst Wilfried Zaha was a winger, come sort of creative player. But Eze isn't that kind of player. Eze plays a very free role. He can play in those troublesome positions, number 10 and maybe number 8, and that's probably where we need to sort of like look to get Eze in the team. But I'll take him all day long because he's a player that I've always coveted, and I do think he'd give us that other creative spark rather than relying too much on Martin Odegaard. And Martin Odegaard, as another, he's injury prone, goes from form. We could go elsewhere. He will be a problem for Havertz because Havertz is kind of those. How do I say it? He's a master of. He's a doer of a lot of trades.
Is he going to get in the team though, Kenny? Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean,
our
manager was so hell bent on getting Sesko to incorporate Havertz and fit our system, whatever system that was.
That's the thing.
Is Havertz going to get in the team?
Well, it's an option to not play him. You don't feel like you have to. You don't feel that you have to play Havertz because he's tactically important when you've got other options. He's only tactically important because we haven't got that many options, especially coming from the bench, and that he is like managerially. He's what I call slightly above average effective. And that's all he is. There's nothing spectacular about what he does, but he is effective. And he's one of those things where you know that he can do a job for you, but you don't pay £65 million for a player who could do a job.
No.
You want someone who can win games. Yeah, he scored a winning goal and he will get up and down. He will make the runs and get himself into like forward positions. But in terms of like giving us something extra for creative, as a creative spark, in order for us to play better football, Eze's your man. However, you want to go down that sort of like way we've been playing for the last few years, where we very much winger based, then I suppose you've got to think, well, look at Rodrigo as well, because Rodrigo is, in essence, a winger. I'm not convinced that he's playing his pro positions because Vinicius Junior.
Palace fan just said it. Pick up the Palace fan in the chat. Yeah. He said Hodgson played him on the left. I've said he's not a left winger. That's not. But you're isolated, is he there?
But in terms of Rodrigo, we've seen him play on the left, but he has to play in the right for Brazil and for Real Madrid because Vidi Junior is, so he's had to make the right hand side of his position. But on the left, he'd be a great acquisition. But let's not kid ourselves. Rodrigo hasn't come to Arsenal. If he gets an inkling that the manager will give him some sort of game time and make some changes, come on. Real Madrid were awful against PSG. There's major surgery needed at that club. He's got too many superstars all wanting to play, make the same runs and play in that same position. He's got to make a decision. Who knows? Maybe Rodrigo will get games. Maybe Rodrigo is using Arsenal in order to get a better deal for himself at Real Madrid. Ramos did that 10 years ago when he was flirting with Man United. What happened after that? He got a better deal at Real Madrid. More money. Maybe that's what Rodrigo's doing with the links. Again, I've seen no evidence that Arsenal have been in for him or even made any genuine inquiries for the player.
Yeah, no, you've facts, mate. You've facts. I mean, I've said Eze all along. I think he's key. As big up, Rich 99 panel. Big up. I can see it now. Martinelli will have his third bad season in a row, and then we'll sell him next summer for about 35 mil. If you're lucky, I reckon if he has another terrible season, I reckon we'll be lucky to get 25 mil for him. Remember, he's on big wages. So this is a problem we've got as well, though, Jez, isn't it? I mean, we've got players on big wages that we can't shift. I mean, Havertz, can you see him playing in a 10? Can you see him dropping the captain? Because he loves Havertz. He loves the captain, doesn't he? Our manager. He's got this thing about Odegaard where he's putting in stinkers week in, week out, but he won't bench him. He won't move him into an 8. He won't try something different. Can you see Havertz, if we get the Gyokeres over the line, if we get Eze, can you see Havertz getting into a 10? Can you see him any position in this team?
Well, that's a very good point, because I'm convinced that these players that you're talking about, Havertz and Odegaard, I reckon it's in their contract the amount of game time they get. And he's then obligated to play them. Good point. There was a rumour, wasn't there, that the who was it? What was his name? Willian?
And Xhaka.
Yeah, Xhaka as well. Granit Xhaka as well, yeah.
Well, the ex-Chelsea one, it was rumoured from a very, very good source that he had it in his contract. He had to have a certain amount of game time. Now, if that's the case, then we have a problem, because if they have that, and I'm not saying they do, it's just what I'm thinking, then he's got to play them. And that then pops him in a problem. The manager, I mean, because he said I've got to play him. I've got to play him. Can he play at 10? I don't know. Probably he can, but will he play him there? I don't know.
He's not mobile enough for me to play in midfield, Havertz. He's a player that likes the ball put up to him. He gets in these little pockets. He's not mobile enough. We need someone more explosive in midfield, I think. I
want to see players come in that cause Arteta problems. Not personally, but make him think, right, like if we did get Eze, I've been saying now for 18 months, get Eze. I think he's a great player.
True, yeah.
We should have got Elise, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity, wasn't it?
Could have got him.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And he went for no money, let's be fair.
Yeah.
But I want these players coming in. I want Arteta to have to sit there and really pontificate and think, okay, now what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do this week?
Is he experienced enough to handle a big squad? Big up, gun down, by the way.
Well, now, man, he's been in the job 6 bloody years.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. And I mentioned this on my show last night. I mean, Gundown says Berta's next move is to offload some bad players. They're asked to deal some deadwood at the club. He's got to offload them that are on stupid wages. How much trust do you have in Berta to address these? I think he'll get his head around it eventually. What do you reckon, Kenny? Do we trust Berta to sort it out? I mean, let's be honest. Would we have got the players in the door this season if the barbecue person, Edu would have been?
You say that. You say that about Edu, and he didn't do that. He's got a probably better job at Nottingham Forest. All right, he's Nottingham Forest, it's not big as Arsenal, but he's got a job with more responsibility, more money, where he's basically working for the Marinakis group, where it's not just Nottingham Forest he's going to be working with, he's going to be working with Olympiacos. So I don't know. Someone must think he was good at what he did, but I think what Berta does is that Berta doesn't wait. What Berta's doing is just look at the situation and using financial logic. You know, what he did with Tomiyasu is financial logic. He's not going to play that many games. He's injured. He's not going to. He's a financial liability. Let's pay him off and move on so we can free us up. The Thomas Partey one is, well, he dealt with Thomas Partey at Atletico Madrid, and there was again contractual situations where obviously Thomas Partey was one of the lowest placed players at Atletico. He wanted an increase in wages. The person he had dealt with was Berta. You know, fast forward to the end of this season, Thomas Partey, was looking for an increase in his salary. Obviously, for Berta's looked at it from a financial point of view, looked at the injuries and said, no, we can't, we're not paying that. And so he had to leave the football club. And that's as far as we're going to do when we talk about Thomas, because this is a football show. And that's
exactly,
what
exactly. Leave that into the law.
That's the thing. In terms of like all the other players he's offloaded, look, they will go eventually.
Yeah.
And that is going to be another bit of his remit. But last year, Edu got lucky in that.
Oh, massively.
In that, Fulham were aggressively going for Smith Rowe. They really, really wanted him. Southampton, who just came up, really, really needed an experienced goalkeeper.
Yeah.
They needed a red Adair. I call Aaron Ramsdale the red Adair of the relegation fight. No, it doesn't put out any fires because I'm, born with Sheffield United and Southampton. As much as they've hired him as a red Adair figure, he's never saved anyone from the fire of relegation, has he? But those are the things. Edu got lucky this season. I'm not hearing anything concrete for Simchenko. I'm not hearing anything concrete for.
No, this is it.
Any of these players are interesting players. And of course, I've asked Martinelli to be sold. I haven't heard anything concrete regarding him. And Trossard, I haven't heard anything concrete at all.
No.
All these players that we're saying, well, we need to be offloaded. I haven't seen.
No one's coming in for them, are they?
Interest in them. So.
Bayern apparently was interested in Fenerbahce, Trossard, and I think Bayern was sniffing around Trossard. He's one player that probably might get.
Maybe I've got that one wrong.
Yeah.
But in terms of what the situation is, has he gone up to a player and said, right, you're not part of our plans, go and find yourself another club? These days, when a player's told that, the whole world knows about it. Their agents go and tell all the sundry, and they'll blame everyone.
Exactly.
Themselves. They'll blame the club and everything. So I haven't seen an announcement made that players are available for sale.
I mean, it's like Kivior as well, isn't it? He was another one that we all sort of marked for up for grabs and want to see go and stuff like that. But it looks like, no one mentions Kivior, do they? No one mentions. To be honest, I think he earned his flowers, really, to be honest.
Yeah, but don't think his position is vulnerable if we're getting Mosquera.
Yeah, which I'm going
to... Who I saw in the 21s, under 21s for Spain, very strong, covers a lot of ground and can come out with the ball. So, and he's left-footed. So you think that?
I mean,
potentially that is covered for Gabriel. That's covered for Gabriel, and that makes Kivior vulnerable.
I mean, it says here Valencia centre-back Christian Mosquera has agreed personal terms with Arsenal with a move to the Premier League club getting closer. Now, this is a strong. This looks like it's going to get done. This looks imminent. Now, according to Lee, I don't know. I'm going to hold my hands up here. I haven't watched this guy. I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to sort of put a sort of 1 to 10 on his head. I don't know until I actually see him play. I can make my own judgment. But what I do know, he's quick and he's versatile across the back. Is it another Jez? Do you think this is another kind of signing where he's going to kind of, I don't know, be used in the right way? Or do you think this guy is another kind of Saliba stroke Gabriel and he's going to get game time? Because it looks like, as I say, he's a Spanish under-21. Arsenal have been busy during the transfer windows and have signed Martin Zubimendi. We know all that. This is a young man that's tall, versatile, and he's quick. Apparently, Lee, God bless Lee Gunner, he says he's quick. He's good over short distances. So is this a signing that we could probably do with?
I think so. Now, the interesting thing in that statement, I was watching Lee's show when he talked about this guy.
Yeah,
right?
Good.
And it says centre back and right back. Well, his stats of actually his main position is bloody left back. So whoever wrote centre left back. So whoever wrote that is this. I mean, I haven't watched him. I'm not going to say I know anything about this, but Lee went through all the stats. He was going, oh look, he played left back. Oh look, he played left back again. Oh look, he played left back. And so I don't know anyway, but yeah, I'd go for him. Let's get the deals done. You know,
he's young, isn't he? He's young, and he gives us that cover. So does that mean then we should be offloading Kivior, or do you think keep Kivior? Because see, how I'm looking at it, right? Gabriel's had a grade 3 hamstring. We don't know how this is going to pan out over the course of the season when they're playing Champions League. And he doesn't really like to change his centre pairing much, does he? I mean, you know, Gabriel's played in Carabao Cup rounds and FA Cups, and Saliba's played. I would say if we can keep a Kivior and this guy, I think that's good depth. Or do you think we should be offloading Kivior?
No. Look, we know we need depth. I keep saying that term, Kelly. Sorry. We need a bigger squad. Let me say that. We need a bigger squad.
Yeah.
It got proven. We saw what happened latter part of the season last year. Players dropping like flies. We can't keep doing that. We can't afford to have these players get any more bad injuries, because basically it's just they never come back from it as 100%. We've seen that previously with other players from other clubs. So no, I'd keep Kivior. I think he can do a job. He's still learning on the job, which is a good thing in my opinion.
He gets found out, doesn't he? He does get found out. He does get found wanting, and this is my problem. This is my problem with Skelly, to be honest with you as well, because Lewis Skelly's learning on the job, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a young lad, isn't he? He's learning his trade. Lewis Skelly, he's still a young lad. You know, he's got to learn his trade, isn't he?
Oh yeah, exactly.
So at the end of the day, okay, he's going to make mistakes. Fair enough, okay, but I'd get this job done with this Mosquera. From what Lee's said, and I'll go with what he has watched him play for Valencia and all that. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I think it's a cute signing. Again, Berta's doing his magic. To me, I think it's another no-brainer. He's young. If he does improve and he does reach the heights where we're all hoping for, you know, he's still young enough to bomb him on perhaps 2-3 years down the line and make a profit out of him. So for me, I think it'd be quite good business. I'm quite excited about that signing.
The one thing I question, we have a limit, don't we, of how many what's the term? Homegrown players.
Yeah.
And how many foreign players you can have in a squad. We must be getting close to that now.
I would imagine we are, yeah. I mean, I'll look into that my next show, but I mean, yeah, we are very close to that. I would imagine we do need some our homegrown players. is key to balance it all out, obviously. But this is Gyokeres. I mean, this looks like it is absolutely accelerated. I'm going to ask a question about this guy, right? And Jez and Kenny both can come in. Arsenal expect to reach a full agreement with Sporting inside the next 24 hours for 73.5 million euros, which is 63 million. He's costing less than Havertz. Let's get that right, people. I think it's 63 million for a player with his goals is pretty good business. All parties working towards the signing being completed in time. Gyokeres travel to the Gunners. Listen, guys, we've seen it over the years, haven't we? We've seen the Lee Chapmans and the Franny Jeffers come into the teams. In order for me, in order for this guy to thrive, Arteta does need to change his tactics. He does need to look in the mirror. He does need to play explosive football. He needs to get the ball moving a lot quicker through midfield. He needs players on the ball that's creative. He needs to gamble. He needs to take chances. His in-game management has got to be a lot better. Otherwise, this Gyokeres could suddenly become looking very ordinary, Kenny, couldn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's really important we get the tactics right.
It's definitely get the tactics right. The one thing is that whatever happens, and because of the situation Arsenal are in terms of like the pressure is going to be relentless from all sides, all stakeholders. Even people who don't support Arsenal will put pressure on them, on the club and the manager. He's got to start. He's got to hit the ground running, just like a friend. Because the way they're talking about Gyokeres, they're talking about in Haaland levels. Because remember, Haaland probably had the most pressure. He actually went to a team that was already winning, already won the league, and was already a team where Pep Guardiola, had to change the way he played. And his first two games in the 22-23 season, again, a game against West Ham, scored both the goals, hit the ground running. This is what he has to do at Arsenal.
He's got no time, has he? He's got no time.
He's got no time
to hit the ground running.
He's got to hit the ground running because the fact is that we're not Man City. We're not a team that's dominating. We're not the current champions. Liverpool are the current champions. It's not even Man City. So it's a case where he's joining a team where everyone's under pressure to win something big. And he has to. He is the focal point, whether he likes it or not. That's what he's going to have to do. And as much as it's easy if you're a Gyokeres fan to blame the manager, one of them's going to have to adapt. Either he adapts to us and still scores the goals, or we adapt to him. But I do think if you spend that much money, and you look at him and you think, right, if we get the best out of him, he's going to score a lot of goals, and that fights for the title. Mikel's got to be flexible somehow. All right, maybe you can expect a little bit of flexibility from Gyokeres, but a lot of flexibility has to come from Mikel as well. Me, myself, I have my reservations because he is the best for now, but I always feel there's something better out there than him.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, right? Because, I mean, I can throw it over to the both of you. We were told the reason why we didn't get Ivan Toney is because he had an attitude problem. And Arteta don't deal with players that are not disciplined and have an attitude problem. Now, as much as I'm over the moon that we're actually getting a striker, I just wanted a striker. I didn't want to see Havertz lead the line next season. It's not what I'm going to watch Arsenal for. I like to see proper strikers. And this is an old-fashioned kind of striker for me. He'll do anything he can to score a goal. He's kind of old school Gyokeres. However, when he's under contract with his club and he's down in tools and he's holding them over a barrel and he's not turning up for training, does that worry you about his attitude?
That's an attitude problem. You described an attitude problem. I think the thing probably we have in this country is that we see behaviours And we call one an attitude problem, and we called another person doing the same thing. Yeah, he's like that. He's very single-minded. He's very driven, and you've got to let him kick on because that's what makes him successful. But the guy next to them performing the same sort of behaviours, who's just as successful, has got an attitude problem. I think the word attitude problem is bandied about, like just to basically say, look, I don't rate you as a footballer. You've got an attitude problem. I think what you need to say is that I don't rate Madueke, I don't rate Gyokeres, I don't rate this player and this player, and just say for footballing reasons. If you said it for footballing reasons, I understand it. But when you talk about an attitude problem, what is an attitude problem? Because the behaviours are the same, but the interpretations seem to be different for different individuals, and I don't get that. I don't get that.
No,
you know, you're in elite sport where, as much as we all say we're playing for a team, ultimately you're there for yourself. You're there to earn the most money, and you're there to start. Whether you can talk about all the mentality about as long as we win, it doesn't matter if I don't score. That's rubbish. You want to be the main man.
Of course you do.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I want to be there to back the boys. No, you don't. You want to start. If you don't start, you're upset. You're pissed off. Exactly. You think everyone's against you, and you're not 100% behind the team. It's not natural to be that kind of person, because you're that sort of person. You'll never last in football. So I suppose everyone who's in football and plays first team football has got an attitude problem. But it seems like the word attitude seems to be targeted on some. Is like, for people you don't like, you can say he's got an attitude problem. But someone who behaves the same way, he's driven. That's what makes him great, and you have to wear it.
Exactly. No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Roy Keane, captain of Man United, yet he left Man United under the cloud because he challenged his manager and challenged because he.
What's the best?
And then the same with an Ireland and Saipan. Had another player done that, he would have had an attitude problem. Because it's Roy Keane. It's Roy Keane wants the best. It's driven.
Yeah, no, facts. Jez, this manager's been learning on the job day in, day out from day one, because he hasn't managed anywhere else. He's done some good things. He got us challenging. He's got us into the Champions League on a regular basis. He hasn't been able to get us over the line in big games. And I had to think. I thought about this the other day. Let's say we get in as let's say, the Gyokeres comes in, and now he's got all these players. He's got Marino that wants to start. He's got Gyokeres that wants to play, obviously, because he's our main striker. Havertz don't want to sit on the bench. Martinelli's going to want to play. All these players are going to want game time. He's never been in a position where he's had to manage a dressing room with all these internationals and all these players. When he's been at Arsenal, he's had the main players, and he's had like Saka plays, Havertz plays, because it's only like Reece Nelson and people like that in the background. Now he's got all these kind of superstars and all these internationals in the squad, all fighting for a place. Has he got the experience to manage all this, or can you see rumbles happening within the team?
That's a very, very interesting point. It's a big concern, actually, because I don't really believe he's got great man management skill.
No,
I don't think he's had that to learn, because for too long now we've had a very weak squad, if you want. The fact of how many players he's got to manage.
It's been easier, isn't it? It's been easier.
Well, it's been easy. He's got that. Look, you, Kenny, and I could pretty much every week name the same team.
Exactly.
Week in, week out, and that's all he's had to do.
And that's all he's had to do. Now,
last season, towards the end, he had to change it up because we had injuries all over the park. Now, this is going to be a big challenge for him. And we're going to now see, if we do get all these players, right? So he don't let that many go. He's got a far better size squad to compete with, and that's going to give him big problems to
give you headaches, isn't it?
manage.
Yeah,
And I think that's good. I think that's a nice problem for him to be
but
able
top managers can do this though, Jez, can't they? The Peps can do it. Wenger could do it, couldn't
we're
he?
going to see, aren't we? Whether
I've got doubts whether he can actually do this, my friend.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know whether he's got that in him to actually be able to manage that, or will it cause problems in the dressing room, or we will see. We will see, guys, this season if we get all them players in. Is he really a good manager? We're going to see that, and that's what I'm waiting for here, to see whether he can actually deliver and manage this team. And until he does that, then it could be just one step too far for him, and he'll be out that way. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. What we do know, though, I mean, there was this in the chat about saying if it's a black player, then the attitude. If it's a white player, it's not an attitude. I'm just listen. I'm not going down that route. Whether they're black players or white players, my friend. I'm just literally basing it on what this manager has said in the past about players coming to the football club, about attitude and everything else. And Gyokeres, to me, you know, he's got that about him. But for me, all players that want to do well, any good player of any sort, has to have an attitude problem around them, whether they're black, white, yellow, whatever. They have to have that because that's what makes them great. All your great players, even Zidane, had an attitude problem. You have to have that. It's to be good at what you do. You have to have some sort of attitude about you. But Kenny, it is going to be a different problem for Arteta, isn't it, next season? If he's got all these players in the dressing room, all wanting to play, and he's got to pick a team. And Jez touched on it really brilliantly when he said he's not really had to think. The team has more or less picked itself. And now he's going to have to think, right, do I play Havertz? Do I drop Odegaard? Do I move Havertz here? Who do I put on the left? Do I put Eze in? Do I leave Eze out? I mean, I'm just speaking hypothetically. If they all sign, his dressing room now is looking completely different to what he's been used to.
It's his own fault, though. You got to remember one thing.
100%.
It's his own fault because someone he hasn't delivered trophies, and he'd be the first person who haven't had the options. The worst thing about it is that whether he likes it or not, if Arsenal want to be successful, they have to play. They have to be involved in big competitions when it comes to, well, in the League Cup, it's the end of March. And in the FA Cup in Europe, it's the end of May. So if he wants Arsenal to be successful, then he has to first and foremost have a big squad. And last year, one thing he wasn't able to cope with is the intensity of the Champions League, especially the league stage. And then we went further in the League Cup as well. So whether he likes it or not, he has to be able to make decisions. But he can't just make decisions based on keeping the players happy. He's got to make decisions on the red zones. He's got no excuse now with a bigger squad for any player to be played when they're in the red zone.
Absolutely.
This will happen because that's what happens. You know, a manager, whether we like it or not, has his untouchables. We just don't agree who's their untouchables. We can also agree that Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka are his untouchables. After that, we're all having a bar brawl about the rest of them. So if we're in a bar brawl about the rest of them, and the manager feels the same way, then he has to use the fact that he's got a big squad in order to rotate. That's his biggest downfall last season was his inability to rotate, to be so married to his system that certain personnel had to play all the time. I hold him 100% responsible for the injuries to Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka, and I say that with evidence. And the reason I say that with evidence is because they are forward players who you played in dead rubber games in the League Cup against opposition, sometimes two leagues below us, but they still feature in these games. They didn't get efficient rest, and you still had to play them in the Champions League games because we were playing intense football. And then you had to play in the league because the league's our bread and butter. You've got no excuses now for any player to be in the red zone.
No.
Yes, because there's no way Saka and Havertz should be your untouchables in the League Cup.
He's got cover now, hasn't he? You know, if Saka's looking tired, he's got Madueke, hasn't he? And it's up to him now to get the best out of Madueke.
Yeah, 100%. Even so, if you don't want to rotate in the league, with at least in the League Cup, you've got enough personnel now to have a go to give us a fist of actually competing in that tournament. You know, that's what the whole thing's about. Getting a war chest of players who are competitive. And if we get injuries, and injuries are happen, we are going to get a major injury next year, not because of the manager.
That's part and parcel of the game, though, isn't it?
That's it. It's part and parcel of football. So at least be prepared for injuries. So if you want Madueke, Cess, you know, Madueke, Eze, and Rodrigo, and all these players, you want to beef up your squad. There's nothing wrong with that. Man City do it. You know, they got to FA Cup final. Liverpool did it. They got to League Cup final. In between them getting to both those cup finals, one finished third, had a poor season by the standards. The other one won the league easily. So
exactly.
Both two massive squads, both of them went deep into the conversation in May because they got big squads.
No, exactly. And see, I come down to it's about being brave. And the manager's, to me, has got to be a bit brave. He's got to completely change the way he plays. He's got to be brave. He's got to be prepared to rotate players accordingly. He's got to be prepared to drop players. He's got to manage. This is what we're crying out for. I'm just frustrated that these signings weren't made sort of 7 months ago, this time last year. If we'd have got a striker in, if we'd have got an Ivan Toney in last year, and we'd have added Gyokeres to the frame, there's two key strikers. It's really frustrating that it's taken, and let's be honest, it's taken, whether the Arteta in brigade like it or not, it's taken Berta to come into this football club to actually get to grips with these signings. Because Gyokeres is not an Arteta signing. He's never an Arteta signing. He didn't want him. He wanted Sesko. So to get the thing moving, Berta's had to come in and get these signings over the line. And it's just frustrating that it wasn't done earlier. But it wasn't done earlier, and this is where we are. The manager now has to manage these players. He has to hit the ground running. He can't go into games early in the season and drop points and lose games. We have to be challenging every game's a cup final as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't know what you guys feel, but I mean, our fixtures to start the season is tough. And I've said there's about what I predicted we'd get 7 points, 8 points. What do you reckon, Jez? If we make the signings, are you confident the start of the season we'll pick up points?
Well, before we got into this transfer window, these players we've got in so far and the potential, I did predict 7 points myself.
Yeah,
I
did.
I think that could increase if we get these better players in. I'm hoping we'll still get Eze. I think he's the player we could do with. I think he will enhance the squad big time. I rate him. Gyokeres, we desperately need him. It's all going to be down, DJ, to how Arteta manages and sets the team up. This is the question every single
buck stops at the manager, Jez. Always has done, hasn't it, my friend?
Yeah. So it's whether or not he'll actually set the team up how it should be. To our first game away against Man United, that could be a banana skin, but we're going to see. I mean, we got what next week? Is it next week? We start our pre-season in Asia.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Hopefully, all these deals can get done so these players can go on a pre-season tour, which is different what it's been for the last few seasons. Because a lot of deals we've done is after we've done the bloody pre-season tour. So now, if we can get them done, they can go out, get used to the setup, used to the rest of the squad, and that's what a big club should be doing. We used to do it that way, and now we should be doing it now. So it's going to be all down to Arteta to sort out the way and the style, the tactics, and he's got to have a look at himself seriously and say, right, this is what we've got to do now. We've got to go for this, and this is how we're going to set up, and this is the intensity, and this is what we are going to aim for. Simple.
And there's no excuses, Jez. There's no hiding place now. At the end of the day, you cannot spend this sort of money. You cannot have a squad the size of Arsenal. Havertz, Gyokeres, Eze if he comes in, Mosquera, all these backups in defence. We've still got Marino, remember? I mean, I don't know where he's going to fit in. I ain't got a clue where he's going to play. Zubimendi, Declan Rice, all these players. There is no more excuses now. It's trophies or gone, as far as I'm concerned. And that's not me. I didn't want Arteta to be start this season as manager. Everyone knows that. And big up the chat. Guys, make sure you're smashing the likes. Make sure that you're subbing to Jezzy's Arsenal as well. Following him, following Kenny. Smash the likes, guys. There's all you guys in here. It literally takes not even a second, guys. Make sure you're smashing the likes and make sure you're subbing. Thank you very much for everyone that's joining us. And but getting on to the fixtures here, Kenny. This is what I'm saying. There's no hiding place now. We have to hit the ground running. Man United away. I don't care what anyone says. We've been following Arsenal long enough now. I mean, 50, 60. I mean, there's over 100 and odd years of us three on this panel following this football club. Manchester United, whether we've got prime Ronaldo, prime Messi in the Arsenal team, that is always a difficult fixture, no matter when you play them. How can you see that going? Because we never really do well at Old Trafford, do we?
No, Man United raised their game. Despite whatever you think about Man United, ever since Sir Alex Ferguson's left the club, for the league, they finished second, but a poor second to the title winners. One thing Man United have always done is they've always raised their game against the big sides, home and away. The results are actually quite good. And they're going to be up for it. 75,000 fans. First game of the season. We don't know what the situation, but they'll have Mbomo, whether he fits in the team as well. They're going to have Cunha, who runs his nuts off all the time.
Good player.
And, he's going to have a situation where it's his first full season where he will line them up in order not to lose and to nick something. So it's going to be very difficult for us. And, we don't know what our pre-season would have looked like, whether we rusty or not, but we have to find a way to win. But realistically, judging by our previous efforts, a draw is how it's going to go. And then you've got Leeds as well. Leeds. If they're stupid enough to play football, then we win.
It's a free hit for them, though, isn't it, Leeds?
Unfortunately, not, because the pressure on Leeds and any team that comes out the Championship after what's happened in the last 2 years is going to be unbearable, because the last 2 seasons, the bottom 3 have gone straight down. There's been a massive, massive gap between the Premiership and the Championship, and it's shown. And Leeds will be under pressure not to lose that game. And again, it's where people will be expecting. It'll be the first home game where we're probably going to see Gyokeres. He's going to, so it's a game that it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be horrible to watch, but we'll win. 5:30 kickoff in London. On Sky. I think we'll win, but it won't be pretty.
No, never is though first home game in the season, is it, at Arsenal? No. Never is at the Emirates. It's just
Liverpool, sorry to say it, but Liverpool, they got a 12th man. God bless his soul, he's in the sky, willing them on.
Yeah.
Because God bless his soul. If anything is going to galvanise Liverpool this season, it's not the fact that they're league champions, but it's this: they're playing in memory of Diego Jota. It's going to be an emotional time, obviously they're going to have to play with their heads because the other day you got to have a relative calm. But in terms of your performance, they're not going to they're not going to need any motivation for any game afterwards.
No. Every game they're going to be up for.
Plus, we never really do well at Anfield anyway.
No.
The best I can say is a point, because we always make sure we're difficult to beat at Anfield, and we're all competitive, but we won't beat them. So that's 5 points already.
Yeah, no facts. Jez, Newcastle away in September. Previous records at St James's Park has not been fantastic, my friend, is it? Do you think we can turn that around, or do you think the Newcastle? Do you think Eddie Howe's got our number?
Well, I'll give you very, very quickly. These are my first 7-game predictions.
Yeah, go for it, my friend.
We'll beat Man United away 2-1. Arsenal leads 2-0 Arsenal. I reckon Liverpool beat us 2-1. Arsenal Forest 1-1. Man City Arsenal 2-1. Newcastle away 2-0. Because
that's 7 points.
So you think about it. Newcastle away, we haven't done well there for now 3 years in legal cup. We've done shit there. Whether we can overturn that this season, I hope. Man City home's going to be a tricky one because they've basically got 2 teams again, haven't they? The amount of players they've bought in the last 2 windows, January and this window.
Yeah, and he's changing the way he plays as well. Yeah. I think Liverpool, Man City will be fighting it out for the title. Personally, I think we're strong third favourites. If we get the players in, we need to get the players in. But Man City, for me, will be different. There'll be different gravy. I mean, I'm similar to you, Jez. The only thing is, I reckon Man United Arsenal will be a draw. It'll be a scruffy win at home against Leeds. Liverpool, I think, will lose. Nottingham Forest, I can see us winning. Man City, I said we'd lose that, and so is Newcastle. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I want win. But if we are in a situation, if you look around April time, and I'm thinking ahead here, guys, and I'm getting my hopes up, obviously. If you look in and around April, because, again, the narrative was saying, oh, look at the start we've got. It's fixed. It's rigged, blah, blah, blah. No one's moaning about April or May, though, are they? That's not rigged, is it? So if we're in and around come April, that's not too bad, is it, Kenny? April or May fixture.
Second half of the season is not going to be too bad, because that's exactly where we kind of found ourselves in 23-24 season. And after the disaster against Aston Villa, we won every game, but it was all to no avail. And we could be in that situation as well. We've got a third team. One thing is that people don't like to hear this, but something is happening at Chelsea. I know people saying, well, they spent all that money. What do you think? Well, no, this is different. Because they're not exactly they haven't got players like Drogba, Petr Cech, Cavalli, or Ferreira, Lampard, Terry, all those kind of like superstars, Ashley Cole and everyone. This is a side that's a young side. It's quietly. So if Arsenal are to do something next season, it's going to be hard. They don't have to work their nuts off, because they've got derbies, North London derby on the way. They've got derbies, London derbies, against teams who hate our guts and love beating us. And then you've got the games at the 6th. So, not only is it essential to have a big squad, but the mentality's got to be right. You've got to try and win the games, and obviously try and pace yourself, but don't lose too much ground coming into Christmas, because when it comes to, because the other day, if Man City, Liverpool got a lot way ahead, they can afford to drop points because they're that far ahead, whilst we have to be immaculate.
We can't afford to drop any points. This is what I'm saying. We can't really. Every game's going to be a cup final, because quite simply, we've put ourselves in this position because we haven't won anything. And we're in this position now. We haven't got we've not got no credit in the bank where we can sort of say, "Oh, we'll go for an FA
Well, try
You
telling the people who are big Mikel fans. They'll tell you to their blue in the face that we should be grateful and that we don't deserve Mikel for everything he's done for the fans, especially some silly estate agent from your part of the world who was at Anfield in 1989 and received flowers from Arsenal players, even though it was Liverpool who suffered a tragedy. I don't know what tragedy she suffered in her life in '89. But I suppose it's a tragedy for everyone else that she's on social media.
Exactly.
No, exactly. World Cup qualifying this year, isn't it?
And it is the World Cup qualifying. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing as well. And it's AFCON, isn't it? Is it the AFCON as well?
Yes.
So we've got the AFCON as well. So Liverpool will lose Salah at some point. I don't think it affects us much, does it, really, with our players? But big up Shane. Big up Shane. Make sure you go and sub to Shane doing his breakfast and his roasts and all sorts. Big up, my friend.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I've left the message.
No, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. I know you're short of time. That time has absolutely flown by. All I want to say is big up the chat, big up the panel. Thank you very much for joining me, Kenny. What you got coming up? I know you was making a move.
I'm with Jez tomorrow at 6:00, and I've got Dan afterwards, so I'm very, very busy. Jez is doing an old school show tomorrow, I believe.
Big up, Jez. And
then obviously Dan's going to be utilising the back Victor Gyokeres. Yeah. I pray for all of everyone that I'm proven wrong, because I want to be proven wrong. I want him to do well for the football club. I want him to be a missing link. But one thing I will say about Arsenal, Arsenal's problem has never been lack of striker. It's the fact that we just haven't got the mentality to win games. You know, you can still compete for a title doing it our way in 2023 and 2024. Only when it came to the business end of the season, despite the fact that we physically look the part, mentally we're not strong enough. That's why we didn't win these leagues. It wasn't down to striker. You can't say 90-something goals. Where Man City were different is that their striker was clinical, but they had the bigger game mentality.
Facts.
For us.
Facts. No, thanks, Kenny, for joining us. Absolute legend. Where can we find you, Kenny?
At Kenny Ken 1972 on Instagram. Nowhere
Kenny
else.
Ken 1972.
Twitter,
Big up, Kenny. No,
it's a cesspit of self-indulgence and insanity.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to love you and leave you guys.
Yeah, love Kenny always, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Big up, Kenny. Bless Kenny, always my friend. Jez, what you got coming up, my friend? I mean, you got your old school. I know you're kind of busy in where you are now. Yeah, my friend. Thank you very much again for coming on.
Tomorrow, mate, I did send you a thing out.
Yeah. I can do an hour tomorrow, and then I'm on with Dan at 7. But yeah, I can jump on at 6. Yeah, no problem. That'll
be an hour show.
That'd be great, mate. Yeah, I can send me the link, my friend, and I can jump on. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Lee's jumping on, Shane's jumping on, Kenny and you.
That'd be good.
Awesome lineup.
That'd be an awesome panel. Yeah, no, big up, my friend. No, thanks for coming on, Jez. What else you got?
I don't know yet. Got a lot to do this week. Decorating. Still haven't finished decorating here yet, and I hate decorating.
Especially in this heat. It's too hot, man.
It's not funny. Bloody paint dries before you even get it on the wall.
Yeah. How's the fishing game? Is it too hot for the lake, isn't it?
Yeah, we've closed it. We had a big problem with blue-green algae.
Oh, no.
So next week, 3 weeks this week now it's been closed. We had to treat it and all kinds of stuff. We did lose a few fish, unfortunately. Sad. But, next week it'll be back.
Yeah, no, big up, man. Big up. No, just want to say, Jez, where can we find you? Jez is...
Arsenal.
Jez is Arsenal. Make sure you sub and follow Jez. Chat, all I want to say is thank you very, very much for joining me, joining the panel. Bless as always, much appreciated. I've tried to highlight all your comments, but a big thank you very much. Much appreciated. And let's just hope Arsenal can get these signings in. Let's hope the manager changes his ways. Let's hope he can handle the situation, and we can start the season with a bang and really put on a performance next season. We need it, guys. We need a trophy. We need a day out at Wembley. If not, then changes have to be made, because no matter what players you've got at a football team, they're only as good as the manager, and the buck stops at the manager. And this is what people don't understand.
True.
Whether you like it or not, it's the manager's job to get the results, to get the job done. And when it doesn't get done, questions get asked. And that's all we do, guys. We ask the questions, we look at the facts, and the facts don't lie. This manager is under pressure to win trophies. And on that note, my friends, stay safe, and I will catch you another time. Tomorrow I'm doing a stream, so if you're around, come along tomorrow afternoon. I've got an afternoon off, so I'm going to go live tomorrow afternoon. Big up, my friends. Stay safe. Much love, and we're gone. Take care.
Take care.